Check out this vintage recipe for Irish Italian spaghetti from my 1942 Better Homes and Gardens cookbook. This quirky and obscure dish reflects the mix of Irish and Italian influences, likely chosen to appeal to a diverse American audience. The name was probably a nod to America's cultural melting pot and not to any specific ingredients. In the 1940s, convenience foods were a kitchen staple, helping busy families create super easy and hearty meals with minimal effort. Watch as I recreate this nostalgic dish step by step. The first step is to cook your ground beef and your onion. I like to cook mine together, but of course you can do it separately if you prefer. The recipe calls for 1 pound of ground beef. I'm using a little bit over a pound. If you're using over a pound, you might want to adjust your other ingredients. That's up to you. And I'm using ground sirloin because that's my preferred ground beef. Of course, you can use ground chuck, ground round, or leaner beef if you prefer, but I like sirloin because it's not too lean and it's not too fat. It's just right, in my opinion. And once you're done, of course, you want to drain off your grease. Sirloin doesn't produce as much as, ground round and ground chuck do. So usually I use paper towels to kind of blot up the grease, but you can drain it however you prefer. Okay, I know this next ingredient may seem strange, but just hear me out. Just follow me through the video. I'm going to add a can of condensed tomato soup. No water is needed, just the contents of the can. You're going to dump that into the pan along with your beef. Remember, I said at the beginning of the video, this is going to be a quirky recipe. The next thing you want to do is to add a can of cream of mushroom soup, and I am using the Healthy Request version. So once you have dumped the contents of both cans of soup into your pan along with your beef and your onion, you're going to mix everything well, and then you're going to start to add your spices. I first had my doubts when I saw this recipe, but something kept pulling me back to it, so I decided to try it out. There's something wrong with this video clip, but anyway, you're supposed to add a dash of red pepper. Of course, you can add as much as you like, or you can omit it if you wish, whatever you prefer. The next step is to add some salt. The soups probably already have a good bit of sodium, so I think a half teaspoon is probably sufficient, even though the recipe calls for 1 teaspoon. Of course, you can add as much or as little as you like. And the next step is to add a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. Once again, you can add as much or as little as you like. And then you want to add a 1/2 teaspoon of chili powder. And then you're going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of hot sauce. Now the recipe calls for Tabasco. I don't have Tabasco, so I'm going to use Texas Pete. You should let this simmer covered on the stove for about 45 minutes. And while it's simmering, you want to go ahead and make your spaghetti. And here's the final result. You can see the steam coming off of this. It's really good. It doesn't disappoint. It probably won't appeal to everybody, but I like it. And it really piqued my interest when I first saw it in the 1942 Better Homes and Gardens cookbook, and I kept coming back to it, but I was a little bit doubtful because I didn't know how it was going to taste with the cream of mushroom soup and tomato soup combined. But I kept coming back to it, and I finally decided to make it. It is very vintage. It is rather quirky and obscure. Probably most of you have never heard of it before. But I wanted to try this out for fun and, of course, for my TikTok channel. And as I've already stated in one of my earlier videos, I've dedicated this channel to making vintage recipes from the past. It may not be the most healthy dish in the world, but I've created it just for fun. Okay, guys, let me know what you think down in the comments section below. And please do subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so, because I plan to upload similar content in the future.